and get out for the Lakers. The collapse is complete. We'll show you why last night was the last straw in La La Land. Meanwhile, Aaron needs to hang a help wanted sign. We've got the only solution to put the title back in Titletown. And is it all about to hit the fan in Foxborough? Kraft wants wins, but is his team ready for prime time? Those are the questions. We've got all the answers as we get up with you, starting right now on a Wednesday from the Seaport. Greeny here, jam-packed, and take a look at the squad we put together. We're talking football. Swagoo is here. Nico is here. Tannenbaum's wearing a tie. He's got a mock draft to get to, and that's not all. We got basketball covered for you. Monica McNutt and Brian Windhorst are here on the morning after the disaster that was the Lakers season last night. Take a look, Windy. Lakers, Mavericks. Lakers playing without LeBron James and Anthony Davis. First quarter, Mavs already up 8, and Luka Doncic is doing his dance. And I mean dancing on the perimeter, stepping back, knocking down the three. He scored or assisted on 30 of the Mavericks' 43 first quarter points, and he was just getting started. Here he is, a tough fadeaway. Luka had 25 in the first half. Less than a minute later, Lakers down 27. Russell Westbrook turning it over. Now we're going the other way. Windy, where's the defense on Spencer Dinwiddie?
He doesn't believe his numbers, only had to see it for himself to know how the Lakers defend.
Lakers allowed 82 points in the first half of this game last night. Third quarter, more of the same. Luka finished with 34, 12 rebounds, 12 assists. If it was a fight, they would have stopped it. And by that, I mean the entire season for the Lakers. And with that defeat, they have officially fallen out of the play-in tournament. Right now, they do not have the tiebreaker with the Spurs, so they are in every way on the outside looking in for the first time since they began the season 0-2. That was October 23rd. Their next game is Thursday against the Jazz, a team they have beaten in both of their meetings this year for whatever it is worth. So let's dive into this for a moment. And I would remind everyone that when the season began, Las Vegas considered the Lakers the favorites to win the Western Conference. Monica McNutt, what do we say about them as the calendar prepares to turn to April?
Oh, man, Greeny. You know, this morning as we prepared for this show, I actually mulled over the idea that them not getting in the play-in, as embarrassing as it may be for the Lakers brand, the legacy, and fans, is actually sort of a good thing. Because even if they get in, they're going to have to win 2 games, and then you just get blown away in a first-round series. This team does not fit well. They have not had any success. It seems like the path of least resistance. I know they're not going to throw in the towel technically, but I actually think them not getting in the play-in is a better solve for right now, because this
they almost could throw in the towel, Windy, if they wanted to indirectly, which is to say Anthony Davis doesn't have to come back, even though all signs seem to point to the idea that he's about to. And LeBron James, look, the knee could swell any, kind of thing anytime they want to. They could just shut this thing down if they wanted to.
But they don't have their draft pick. If they had their draft pick, at least you could say you're improving your lottery position. And by the way, this happened a couple of years ago, and they got jumped up in the lottery to the 4th spot and traded for Anthony Davis. That's why they shut down. Now, I just don't know if they can. And I think this is going to get worse before it gets better, because I don't think LeBron's going to play tomorrow night at Utah. And Anthony Davis is probably not going to be back till this weekend. Utah needs that win really bad. And, San Antonio has 2 games coming up with the Blazers at home. By the time AD and LeBron come back this weekend, if they're healthy enough, they could be 2 or 3 games back when you include the tiebreaker.
So it may not even be a question of throwing in the towel. They may get knocked out of this thing even if they don't want to be. This is a look at what the Lakers have remaining. They have the hardest schedule in the NBA this last week and a half of the season. You look on that screen. You show me outside of OKC a place you expect them to win. And candidly, OKC has been their nemesis a lot of this year. Monica, you pointed that out last time you were with me here about a week or so ago. So how do we assign the blame here? The world seems ready to cast all of this on the shoulders of Russell Westbrook. And then there's the Anthony Davis inability to stay healthy. How much of the blame falls on LeBron himself? Monica, how do we look at this?
If we were going to go percentage-wise, Greeny, I'm looking at about 60%. You are LeBron James, and all accounts indicate that you had a large hand in how this roster was constructed. I remember the enthusiasm when it came together, but the immediate question was health. How many of these guys have you guys added that have played a full season in recent season years? And so this team is just old. I don't know what the out is. I think at this point you have to entertain moving Anthony Davis, because otherwise I don't know that you can get anything viable back.
Yes, that's exactly right. I brought it up on the radio show yesterday, Brian Windhorst. The only path for LeBron James to winning another championship in LA, he's got two choices. He can find a way to get himself somewhere else next year, or he can push for the team to trade Anthony Davis. It is the only way they will put together a championship roster.
I just don't know about that, Greeny, because Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, and I realize that's a big if, he's still a top player. I mean, teams out there who have stars are trying to get other players to support them like Anthony Davis. It's not only that, Anthony Davis's value isn't that high right now. His value isn't where it was 2 years ago. Maybe it's in 6 months it'll be higher. I think this is a bad time to trade Anthony Davis. And I mean, look, bring me these alleged trades. Show me these trades where you're going to trade Anthony Davis and get better. I don't see it. I don't know how it's going to happen. I think what's really going to happen, their only hope of getting out of this with the hand that they're holding is health. So they got to do what Anthony Davis has got to do to try to be able to stay healthier.
And so if they were, Monica, let's envision a scenario where everything goes perfectly. And I'm sort of on your side, where I think that just having the season end as quickly as possible is probably the best thing for them. But in a scenario where LeBron is healthy and Anthony Davis comes back at full strength and they go into a play-in scenario, can this team do anything, literally anything at all, in April and May of this year?
Win the 2 play-in games, Greeny, and probably lose in maybe what could be a compelling first-round series, but I don't see them getting out of the first round. I mean, the injuries are too fickle. Prior to the actual ankle injury, after LeBron exploded for 35-plus points, he had knee soreness. So are they even going to be healthy enough to play enough games to do anything special? And to me, the answer is no.
Look, I mean, Wendy, to sort of put a ribbon on this for the moment here, to make sure everyone is aware of where this falls. If they do get in the play-in, they're going to be 9 or 10, which means they will play the 1 seed no matter what happens. Would they win a single game against Phoenix in the first round?
They have LeBron and AD. I would give them a win. But if anybody has paid attention to Phoenix lately, they're crushing teams.
Yes.
And if the game is close, they are putting you in a headlock and driving you into the ground and then stepping on your neck. They are one of the greatest clutch teams I've ever seen. I defy you to tell me you see that team losing 4 times in 7 to the Lakers unless there's some sort of catastrophic injury.
To the Lakers? I'm not sure I see them losing 4 times to anyone. The Lakers would be the last. All right, Monica, stay close. Wendy's putting people in headlocks this morning. All right, stay close. We got to get to Sixers boxing a whole lot more as we go. But let me get to the NFL, because everything changed yesterday, or at least this did, and it's big. NFL owners approved a modified proposal for overtime that will now guarantee each team a possession, but only in the postseason. The rule for regular season games will remain the same. So the first possession, a touchdown, will still end it. And of course, those can still end in a tie. The basis behind the rule falls in these numbers. You can call it the Josh Allen rule if you want to, but the bottom line of it is 58% of the games since 2010 in the postseason, the team that scores, that gets the coin toss, winds up scoring and ending the game on the opening drive. 10 out of 12 is the total number that we have seen. And so again, the squad is here today. Swagoo, Tannenbaum, and Ninkovich. Marcus, I will start with you. What do you think of the new overtime rules?
I hate it. I hate everything about it because it's about feelings and emotion and not about football. Oh, everybody should get a turn to score. That ain't the way it's set up. That ain't the way this game's set up. Overtime is supposed to be sudden death. That is when all of the chips are in the middle of the table, and whatever team has the earliest success, that's the team that's supposed to win. I did like the rule of if you kick a field goal, the other team gets an opportunity, right? Because that's almost like a consolation prize that's getting the field goal. But if a team gives up a touchdown, if you let a team drive down the field 80 yards, 90 yards, 75 yards, and score a touchdown, you're supposed to go home. You're supposed to be going to the crib. And I know everybody gets excited because Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes had that wonderful game. And we heard this about Patrick Mahomes when they lost to Tom Brady in the playoffs. Well, we would have loved to see Patrick Mahomes get the ball back. The Chiefs defense could have made that happen. Mm-hmm. Last year, the Buffalo Bills defense could have made that happen. This is about feelings and emotion. And you know what else it does? It extends the game. I know this is just the playoffs. I know this rule is just implemented for that, which is even more egregious, G. Because we know that it being only in the playoffs is about emotion and feeling. Because what games in the regular season don't matter to you as far as trying to get a win, to get in the playoffs or to get seeding. The one spot is way more valuable now in each conference than it was a couple years ago. So what's the difference? You still playing for something in the regular season. It just compounds to me that it's about feelings and emotion and people being upset